myself and a lot of people in the open source intelligence community that are looking at this online have a lot more questions as to what is exactly going on in the video and why would you remove a mine from a ship that you intended to harm.
It's quite dangerous, isn't it, as well?
Absolutely it is. I don't think you would see an American explosive ordnance disposal team operate like that with 15, 20 people on a small boat next to something that could be potentially explosive.
There's also this discrepancy because people on the Japanese ship say that they didn't see mines, they saw flying objects.
Hi everybody, my name is Mike. This is my YouTube page, Mox News. Thanks for tuning in. Okay, I just want to say real quick, this guy makes the point that I keep thinking about when I see this. Oh, this is the video of Iran removing a mine from the ship. I'm like thinking, when have you ever seen this many people standing around something that could explode at any second? I mean, there's like the guy says there's 15 people standing around this mine waiting to go off, right? So I've never seen anything like that as far as, I mean, you've seen the Hurt Locker, they stand 100 yards away and then they get all suited up in lead gear and that's on stuff that they don't know if it's going to work or not. This is supposed to be a military operation with military equipment. This makes no sense, and that's the first thing that I see about the Pentagon video, and this is the first time I've heard anybody bring it up, so I thought that I would take 1 second and point that out. Thanks for tuning in. My name is Mike. This is my YouTube page, Mox News. There's like 9,800 videos on this Mox News YouTube page, so if you're new to it, please be sure to take a look around. Please be sure and hit the notifications button for Mox News, otherwise you will not get our daily updates. Which would just be sad after subscribing to Mox News that you don't get the daily updates because YouTube is stupid. Okay, and Mox News survives solely on contributions from good people like you. There's clickable links in the text body of this video, so please take a minute to give something back to Mox News. I give every day. Thanks very much for tuning in. Stay cool Wednesday as this war is going to end. Till that day.
Hello and welcome. Well, President Trump has dismissed Iran's insistence it had no involvement with the attacks on 2 tankers in an important oil route in the Gulf of Oman. Earlier, the US military released a video which it says shows Iranian special forces removing an unexploded mine from one of the ships. Tehran has flatly denied being behind the attacks on Thursday. They believe that other powers are trying to provoke trouble. Here's our chief international correspondent, Lise Doucette.
America builds its case. The US military says their video shows Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guards removing a limpet mine from this stricken tanker. Their photos of the ship's hull points to what they say is probably that mine which didn't explode, and the damage from one which did. One of 2 attacks on oil tankers in the Gulf on Thursday, which rang the alarm about disruption of oil supplies and the danger of war in this volatile region. Others, including the UN, are calling for an investigation. But this morning, President Trump took to his favorite TV show to say Iran's to blame.
Well, Iran did do it, and you know they did it because you saw the boat. I guess one of the mines didn't explode, and it's probably got essentially Iran written all over it.
Tonight, Britain's Foreign Secretary backed him up. Jeremy Hunt now says responsibility almost certainly lies with Iran. Iran denies that. At this regional meeting, its president took aim at the United States.
The US government has acted against all international laws in the last 2 years by adopting an aggressive policy, and it has posed a serious threat to regional and international stability.
Whoever caused these explosions knows they're playing with fire. Just look at this map of the Gulf region and the narrow waterways where the world's oil tankers come and go. This is where these tensions could escalate by an accidental collision or a retaliatory strike by Iran or the US and its closest partners, including Saudi Arabia. For now, the Saudis are threatening stern action against what they see as Iran's puppet, the Houthis in Yemen, already locked in a devastating war with the Saudi-led coalition just south of here. So is there a way out?
Definitely, and that's through diplomacy. The Trump administration pulled out of the nuclear agreement last year and reimposed sanctions on Iran despite the fact it didn't violate the nuclear agreement. Now we have people in the administration that are hoping to put so much of an economic pain on the society that lead to a regime change. And at the same time, they're saying that they want that they want to talk to Iran, that they call me, and so that's almost laughable.
If Iran's to blame, it may be its message. It can also inflict pain on oil supplies, on stability. A warning, if one was needed, of the cost of confrontation. Lise Doucette, BBC News.
Well, I spoke to Sam Legrone, the editor of US Naval Institute. He told me why more evidence was needed to establish if Iran carried out the attacks.
There's a really long chain of forensic investigation that has to go on now to understand all of the visual intelligence. The stuff that we have seen so far is only probably a small sliver of what U.S. Fifth Fleet has collected, either through aerial surveillance and from when the U.S. Bainbridge goes on the scene. So it might be too early to tell. The limited information that we have is only a sliver of what could possibly be out there and being analyzed at the moment.
You've seen that video that was released, the US saying it shows the Iran Revolutionary Guard. What do you think when you see that video?
I see a lot of people on a boat that looks very similar to some of the Iranian fast attack craft, specifically used by the sectarian IRGCN. And you see them removing something from the ship. And then beyond that, it's relatively inconclusive. You know, there's a good circumstantial case, I think, that U.S. Central Command and the White House are making based on that video. But I think myself and a lot of people in the open source intelligence community that are looking at this online have a lot more questions as to what is exactly going on in the video and why would you remove a mine from a ship that you intended to harm.
It's quite dangerous, isn't it, as well?
Absolutely it is. I don't think you would see an American explosive ordnance disposal team operate like that with 15, 20 people on a small boat next to something that could be potentially explosive.
There's also this discrepancy because people on the Japanese ship say that they didn't see mines, they saw flying objects.
So there's not really enough evidence to be conclusive one way or the other. I think myself and I think a lot of other reporters who've been covering this story since it broke have asked Fifth Fleet and U.S. Central Command the question as to how do you explain this discrepancy, and we haven't gotten a whole lot of answers yet. I say that it would be probably irresponsible to speculate based on the information that we have now on where the disconnect is without significantly more information as to what exactly the crew saw when they were there. Is there any video evidence? Is it just first-person accounts to the president of the company? It's still too early to tell definitively, based on the evidence that we've seen publicly, what exactly happened to that particular ship.
Sam Legrone there, the editor of US Naval Institute.